This is the painful story of a mother's love and the sad reward she received. Grab your seat, and listen to the true heart of a mother. My dear friends, please support me by clicking the subscribe button. Your support means so much to me. Let's grow this family together. Thank you so much. Story begins. In the peaceful part of eastern Nigeria, there was a small village filled with green trees, red sand roads, and the sweet sound of birds every morning. In this village lived a woman named Joy and Chike. Were that kind of couple you look at and smile. They didn't have much, but they had love, strong, real love that many people prayed for. They laughed together, worked together, and dreamed together. They used to sit under the mango tree in the evening, watching their children play in the compound. Joy would say, "Look at them. These children will grow and take care of us one day." Chike would smile and nod. "Yes, my wife. We just need to train them well." But one day, that dream was shattered. It started like a normal day. Chike had gone to work at his mechanic workshop in town. He fixed cars and came home late in the evening, tired but happy. Joy had cooked yam porridge with leaves, one of his favorites. "My husband, your food is ready," she said, smiling. Chike sat down on their wooden bench, removed his shoes, and began to eat. After the meal, he drank cold water from the clay pot and wiped his face. "Today was a tough day," he said. "My head is spinning." Joy rushed to him. "Are you okay? Should I get palm oil for your head?" "No," Chike replied. "Let me rest a little. I will be fine." He went inside to lie down. Joy thought he was just tired from work. She cleaned the dishes, bathed the children, and prepared them for bed. She checked on her husband. He was still lying down, very quiet. "Chike," she called softly. "Do you want hot water? Should I boil some herbs?" No answer. She walked closer, touched him and screamed, "Jesus! Jesus, oh, somebody help me. My husband is not breathing." Neighbors rushed in. The village shook that night. People came with lanterns, some crying already. The local nurse was called. She checked his pulse and looked up with sorrowful eyes. "He's gone." Joy fell to the ground. "No, God, please, not my husband, not my Chike. Please wake him up," she screamed until her voice cracked. The children were confused. The little boy kept saying, "Where is Daddy? Why is Mummy crying?" People tried to hold Joy. They poured water on her. She was shaking like a leaf. "Who will help me raise these children? Who will call me, my wife, again?" The next few days were like a bad dream. The church bell rang sadly. Women gathered to support Joy. Men dug a grave. The coffin arrived. Everything was happening so fast. The day of the burial was heavy with sadness. Even the sky looked dark. Chike's body was laid in front of the house. Joy knelt beside it, crying uncontrollably. Her 3 girls sat beside her, too young to understand what death meant. Villagers spoke kindly about Chike. He was a good man. He helped people without asking for money. He loved his wife and children. God, why take him so early? When they lowered his body into the ground, Joy nearly jumped in after him. "Chike, take me with you. I can't do this alone." Women held her tightly. "Joy, you must live. You have children." After the burial, tradition required her to stay in the house for mourning. Her head was shaved. She wore black clothes. She ate only basic food. For months, she sat in that small house like a shadow of herself. People came to console her. Some brought food, some brought money, but many also brought advice. "You are still young, Joy," an old woman said. "You must remarry. Your children need a father," another said. "You can't do this alone. Find a good man to help you," they said. But Joy refused. She shook her head and said, "I will not marry again. These children are my husband now. I will give them everything I have. I will not divide my heart." Some gossiped behind her back. "She's foolish," they whispered. "She will suffer. She's proud," others said. "Let's see how long she lasts." But Joy didn't care. She wiped her tears, tied her wrapper, and went to the farm. She returned in the evening to cook, wash, and take care of the children. Day by day, her strength came back. She was no longer the soft woman that Chike used to pamper. She became a lioness, bold, strong, and ready to fight for her children. She sold fruit at the market. She planted cassava. She cleaned houses for rich women in the town. Nothing was too hard for her. At night, when the children were asleep, Joy would kneel and pray. "God, give me long life to see these children succeed. I have no one else but you." Her heart was broken, but her spirit was not. And so began the hardest journey of her life, the journey of a mother alone, walking through fire with no shoes, just so her children could walk on gold. After the burial, life did not wait for Joy to finish crying. The world moved on. But for her, time stood still. Every corner of her house reminded her of Chike. His slippers still sat by the door. His tools still hung on the wall. His voice still echoed in her heart. But Joy wiped her tears. She looked at her children and said, "I can't break. I must stand." And so, her real journey began, the journey of silent suffering. Every morning before the sun came out, Joy was up. While others were still sleeping, she would be outside fetching water, washing her children's clothes, or lighting firewood to cook breakfast. She cooked with firewood, not gas. She walked to the stream, not borehole. She didn't have electricity, but she had the fire of determination burning in her soul. Her 3 girls and 1 boy, all under the age of 10, became her reason to live. She didn't pamper them too much, but she loved them deeply. She taught them to pray, to greet elders, and to work hard. People began to notice. Joy's children are different, they said. They are well behaved. They are doing well in school. But what they didn't see was what Joy was going through behind closed doors. There were nights when she had nothing to cook. She would drink water and pretend she had eaten just to give her children food. There were times when school fees came and she had no money. She would walk to rich women's houses and beg for cleaning work just to make enough for 1 or 2 books. There were moments when her body was weak, but she still went to the farm because hunger didn't care if she was tired. Sometimes, her hands bled from cutting firewood. Other times, her feet swelled from walking long distances. But still, she didn't complain. She would smile and say, "God is watching." Joy became a tailor. She begged one elderly tailor to teach her how to sew. The woman agreed. Joy learned quickly and started sewing clothes for villagers during Christmas and weddings. She made little money, but it helped. Slowly, things began to improve, not because life got easier, but because Joy got stronger. Her son, Abina, was smart. He loved books. Joy would buy old, second-hand books for him from town. Abina would read by lantern at night while his sisters helped their mother in the kitchen. Joy used to look at her son and say, "One day, this boy will become a great man. I know it." Her eldest daughter, Precious, was gentle and responsible. She helped wash, cook, and take care of the younger ones when Joy was out. One day, the headmaster of the village school called Joy. "Madam Joy," he said, "your children are very intelligent. Especially Abina and Precious. They are top in their classes." Joy's eyes filled with tears. She said, "Thank you, sir. That's all I ask in this life, for my children to do better than me." But even with her joy came more struggles. There were village women who mocked her behind her back. Is it pride that's stopping her from remarrying? She thinks suffering alone makes her holy. No man will look at her again. But Joy didn't answer them. She stayed focused. She told her children, "Never answer people who mock you. Let your success speak for you." She lived like that for years. From one hustle to another. From one sickness to another. From one broken slipper to another. But she never gave up. When Christmas came and other families bought new clothes, Joy would sew old wrappers into shirts for her children. She would fry a kara and tell them, "This is our chicken for today." And they would laugh. They didn't know their mother was hiding tears behind her smile. She refused to beg. She refused to steal. She just kept working, praying, and pushing through. Then, one day, a miracle happened. Abina won a scholarship, not just to study in town but to go abroad. A government program came to their school, and Abina passed the test with flying colors. When Joy heard the news, she fell to her knees. "God, is this how you bless people? Is this how you answer prayers?" The whole village came to congratulate her. "Joy, your son is going to America. Your suffering has ended." Joy smiled and said, "It's not the end. This is just the beginning." Not long after, Precious also won a scholarship to study abroad. 2 children, both flying far away, all because of one woman's silent struggle. Joy hugged them tightly before they left. "Don't forget where you come from. Don't forget the village that raised you. And don't forget your mother." They promised. They cried. They flew away. And Joy was left alone. But this time, her tears were not from sorrow, they were from hope. Joy sat quietly outside her house one morning, holding a cup of pap. The sun was rising slowly, casting golden light across the village. Her wrapper was old, her hands were rough, but her heart was full of peace. Two of her children, Abina and Precious, were now far away in different countries. They had flown abroad for school, but they didn't just disappear. No, they were shining like the stars Joy always believed they would become. Abina would call sometimes. "Mummy, I got an award today. They gave me best student in my department." Joy would smile. "Thank you, my son. God is with you." Precious also sent messages. "Mummy, I've started working part-time in a school. I'm helping children learn how to read." Joy's heart would beat with joy each time she heard their voices. Though the network wasn't always clear, and she sometimes had to climb a hill to receive their calls, every word they said felt like honey to her ears. The village people were proud of Joy. She became a silent legend in the land. People pointed at her and said, "That is the woman who raised 2 international children without a husband. That is the woman who never begged for help, yet God helped her." Her suffering was not in vain. Even those who mocked her before now greeted her with respect. Mummy Abina, they called her. Mummy Precious. Some people even tried to learn from her. They came to her for advice. But Joy didn't feel like a big woman. She still fetched her water. She still went to the market. She still tied her wrapper and swept her compound. "I didn't train my children to become proud," she told one neighbor. "So I too must remain humble." One day, a white man came to the village. He was with a camera crew and 2 Nigerian men. The whole village gathered, thinking it was a movie. But it was not. They were filming a documentary about successful African students abroad, and Abina had mentioned his mother's name. The white man walked straight to Joy's house. "Are you Mummy Abina?" he asked. Joy looked confused. "Yes. Who are you?" "I'm a reporter," he said with a smile. "Your son says you are the reason he became who he is. We came to see you, to hear your story." Joy was shy. She didn't know how to talk in front of camera people. But they sat with her under the mango tree, and she told them everything about Chike's death, the hunger, the struggles, the tailoring, the firewood, and the prayers. When the documentary came out online, people all over the world watched it. Many cried. Some sent messages. Some sent money. Some said, "This woman is a real queen." That week, her small bank account received more money than she had ever seen in her life. But Joy didn't go to town to buy gold. She didn't rush to build a big house. She used the money to fix the leaking roof. She bought books for children in the village school. She gave food to old widows who were suffering like she once did. Even though her children were abroad, she remained in the same old compound. She said, "Let my success lift others too." But as years passed, something strange began to happen. Abina stopped calling regularly. Precious messages became shorter. Joy would call, and no one would answer. Maybe they are busy, she told herself. She began to feel lonely. She sat on her bench every evening, looking at the road, hoping to see a car bringing her children home. But nobody came. Neighbors began to ask, "When will your children visit?" Joy would smile painfully. "Soon," they promised. But deep inside her heart, something was changing. The children she trained with her tears were beginning to forget her. She still prayed for them. Every night, she knelt and said, "God, don't let them forget where they came from. Touch their hearts." She didn't ask for money. She didn't ask for gifts. She just wanted them to visit. To sit with her. To eat with her. To laugh like they used to. One day, she wrote a long letter and sent it through WhatsApp to both of them. "My children, this is your mother. I love you. I miss you. Please come home. I don't need anything. I just want to see your faces again." She waited. No reply. She checked her phone every morning. Still nothing. One market woman asked her, "Mummy Abina, do they still call you?" Joy shook her head and whispered, "Children forget. But a mother never forgets." The pain in her voice was deep. She used to be a woman of laughter, but now her eyes stayed watery. Her smiles faded slowly, like the evening sun behind the hills. And yet, she kept saying, "They are my joy. Even if they forget me, I will always remember them." The dry season came. Dust covered the village roads. The harmattan wind blew strongly. Trees lost their leaves. Children's lips cracked. And Joy's heart cracked even more. She sat outside every day, waiting for a miracle, the return of her children. She told herself, maybe they're saving money. Maybe they're planning a surprise. She kept her compound clean. She even painted the front wall of the house with white chalk paint. She sewed new curtains from old wrappers. She bought one small local chicken and tied it in the backyard, waiting for her children's visit. December arrived. In her heart, she believed they would come for Christmas. The village was alive. Families were returning from Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, even from overseas. Big cars entered the village every day, carrying gifts and suitcases. Children screamed happily, "Uncle is back." Wives danced as their husbands returned. Mothers hugged their children tightly. Joy swept her compound and wore her best wrapper. Her heart was beating fast with hope. Today, they will come. She boiled rice. She fried plantain. She put malt drinks in a small bucket of cold water from the stream. Then she sat on her wooden bench, watching every car that passed. But Abina didn't come. Precious didn't come. The chicken in the backyard became tired of waiting. Then Christmas Day came and went. Still nothing. New Year came. Villagers celebrated. Joy sat quietly in her room. She brought out a small gift. She had wrapped old beads that belonged to her grandmother. She had planned to give them to Precious. But Precious never came. Joy didn't eat much that day. Her food remained untouched. That night, she lay on her mat and cried silently. Her pillow was soaked with tears. She didn't make noise. One heard her cry. "Why, my children, why?" Her hands were rough, her back bent, her eyes tired. Yet, she had raised them with all the love in her heart. Why were they forgetting her? She thought about when they were small. How she carried them on her back. How she tied cloth around her waist and walked through mud to take them to school. How she told them bedtime stories. How she stayed hungry many times just to feed them. She thought about Abina's voice when he said, "Mummy, I will build you a house one day." She remembered Precious' promise, "I will buy you wrapper from London." But now, they had beautiful houses abroad, and Joy was still sleeping on a mat. They wore suits and perfume, while Joy wore the same wrapper she had used for years. They walked on tiled floors, while she walked barefoot to the stream. Still, Joy didn't curse them. She didn't speak badly of them. She still prayed. Every morning she knelt down and said, "God, please bless my children. Let them not fall into trouble. Remind them of their mother if they forget." But the pain was deep. Some villagers noticed. One woman came and said, "Mummy Joy, don't you know they are now ashamed of this village?" Joy looked at her in surprise. "Yes," the woman continued, "they don't like coming here because of no light, bad roads, and poor water. They now belong to big cities." Joy kept quiet for a moment, then said calmly, "So their mother is not enough reason to come back. The hands that washed them when they pooed as babies are not worth visiting." The woman didn't answer. Joy looked at the sky. "God, is it bad that I loved my children too much?" She continued her daily life, fetching water, sweeping, and going to church. But the light in her eyes began to fade. She stopped cooking much. She stopped waiting outside. She no longer painted the house. She no longer tied the chicken. She let it go. Her neighbors asked, "Are you okay, Mummy Abina?" She smiled and said, "I'm fine. I'm just getting old." But deep down, she was breaking. Her body was strong, but her soul was weak. The silence from her children was louder than any shout. It hurt more than poverty, more than loneliness, more than any sickness. All she ever wanted was for them to remember. One day, she called Abina. The phone rang but wasn't picked. She called again. No answer. She sent a message. No reply. She tried Precious. The line didn't connect. She held her phone tightly and whispered, "If you don't need me anymore, at least tell me. Let me stop hoping." But there was only silence. So she stopped calling. She packed their photos into a bag and kept them under her bed. But every now and then, she would still bring them out, look at their faces, and say, "Abina. Precious, your mother is still here. Still waiting." The village woke up to the sound of chickens crowing and children sweeping the compound. It was another ordinary morning. But something strange was happening inside Mummy Joy's house. She didn't come out that morning. The small cooking pot by the side of her house was cold. The smoke that usually rose from her firewood kitchen was missing. Even the birds noticed the silence. One young neighbor, Nkechi, came and knocked on her wooden door. "Mummy Abina," she called, "are you not coming out today?" No answer. She pushed the door gently and stepped inside. There, on the mat, Mummy Abina lay with a wrapper tied around her waist, her face pale, and her lips dry. She was not dead but she was weak. Very weak. "Mummy Abina," Nkechi shouted. "What is wrong?" Joy opened her eyes slowly. "My daughter. My bones are tired. My head is turning me." They rushed to call the village nurse. The woman arrived with a small bag of herbs and drugs. She checked her pulse and said, her blood is low. She needs rest and better food. Joy tried to sit up. No, don't worry. It's nothing serious. Maybe just old age. But inside, she knew something was wrong. The sickness didn't start in one day. It had been hiding in her bones, hiding behind her smile, hiding beneath her daily struggle. It was the pain of loneliness. The pain of a mother's heart slowly breaking. That week, she stayed indoors. People brought her yam and soup. Some helped her sweep her compound. But the person she wanted to see most never came. Her children. She picked up her phone and sent a voice message. Abina. Precious, your mother is not feeling well. If you can come and see me, it will give me life. She waited. Nothing. She sent another one the next day. Even if you don't want to come to the village, please come to the town. I will come and meet you. I just want to see you before I sleep. Still nothing. She pressed her phone again and again, checking for a blue tick. No reply. No call. She began to cough, a dry, painful cough. Her legs became swollen. Her back began to bend more. The nurse came again and said, she needs a real hospital. The small drugs I have cannot help again. The village chief called a meeting. Mummy Abina is not just any woman, he said. She carried this village's name to the world. We must not let her suffer alone. So, they raised a small contribution, 2,000 naira, here, 5,000 naira there. But it was not enough. The hospital in the nearby town said they needed a deposit of 350,000 naira for proper treatment. The villagers tried to reach Abina and Precious. They sent emails. They called every number they had. One young man who used to play with Abina as a child sent a message. Your mother is very sick. Please come and take her to the city. Abina read the message. He replied hours later. We are sorry. It's not easy to come now. Maybe next month. The villagers were shocked. One woman shouted, next month. Does he think sickness waits? Another said, is that not the same Abina that bought a car last year? He cannot send money for his mother. The chief was angry. So because of electricity and roads, they have forgotten the woman that gave them life. Joy heard all this. She didn't say a word. She just turned her face to the wall and closed her eyes. One old friend came to sit by her side. Joy, do you want us to take you to a church? Maybe they can pray for you. Joy smiled weakly. No, if this is my time, let it be. I have done my best. The woman held her hand and whispered, but you still have children. Joy turned her face slowly and said, children who don't remember where they came from are no longer children, they are strangers. The tears in her eyes were heavy, but she didn't let them fall. She still prayed for them that night. God, don't punish them. Just remind them who I am. The news of Mummy Abina's sickness spread fast. In small villages like hers, nothing stays secret for long. From the palm wine joints to the church compound, people whispered with sorrow in their voices. Mummy Abina is not getting better. She now finds it hard to sit or eat. Her body is wasting away, and her children are not showing up. The people couldn't believe it. This was the same Joy who used to dance with energy at village festivals. The same woman who carried heavy basins of cassava on her head while laughing. Now, she lay on her mat, silent and fading. The village couldn't keep quiet anymore. The chief called another emergency meeting in the town hall, a small mud brick building with wooden benches and a tin roof. We cannot allow this woman to die just like that, the chief said, slamming his walking stick on the floor. Where are her children? They are abroad, sir. One man shouted from the back. They don't even want to hear about the village. The chief looked around. Can someone reach them again? A few young people raised their hands. They had Facebook, WhatsApp, and email addresses of Abina and Precious. Messages were sent. Your mother is dying. Please send money for her treatment. We need to move her to the hospital. She may not survive this week. If you don't come, your mother might leave this world without seeing you. They waited. No reply. No transfer. Nothing. The chief sighed. Let's try again tomorrow. But we can't sit and watch her die. We'll raise money from the village again. So, they passed around a plastic bowl during the meeting. People dropped what they could. 500 naira from the palm tapper. 1,000 naira from a teacher. 2,000 naira from the catechist. Even the little children gave 2 naira notes, the ones they were saving for sweets. But still, it was not enough. The nurse visited Mummy Abina again and shook her head. She's weaker today. If nothing is done soon, we may lose her. One of the women cried. But where are the children she suffered for? Another said bitterly, abroad children who forget their mother, is that what education teaches now? Joy heard all these voices. Her ears still worked, even though her strength was fading. She wanted to say something, but her lips were too dry. Her eyes only moved slowly, looking around, as if searching for someone. Mummy Abina, the nurse asked gently, do you want to say something? She nodded slowly. A chalkboard was brought. One of the children gave her a small slate and white chalk. With shaky hands, she wrote, forgive them. Everyone stared at the words. Even in pain, even in disappointment, Mummy Abina still chose love. The villagers wiped their eyes. She is a real mother, someone said. Even in her worst moment, she still protects her children. One young woman went on Facebook that night. She posted, meet Mummy Abina Ease of Village. She raised 4 children alone after her husband died. 2 of them are abroad. But now, she is sick, and they have refused to come or help. Yet, she still forgives them. Please share this. Let the world see what true motherhood looks like. By morning, the post had been shared by thousands of people. People began to comment, where are her children? We want to talk to them. This is so heartbreaking. She deserves better. How can we help this woman? Some even sent small donations. 10,000 naira from Lagos. 5,000 naira from Yerba. 3,000 naira from Port Harcourt. Joy was still too weak to notice all this, but the village didn't stop. The church held a special prayer service. The youth group went from house to house, collecting more money. And one old friend of her late husband, a retired school principal, called a doctor in town and begged him. Please come and see this woman. Treat her. We will pay you anything, even if it takes time. The doctor came. He checked her body and shook his head. She needs to be admitted today. But the ambulance was far away, and the roads were bad. They needed a car. The chief called a cousin in town, who had a small Toyota. Drive her to the hospital, the chief said. We will fuel the car. People donated fuel money. Mummy Abina was lifted gently and placed in the car. The whole village stood on the road, watching her go. Some waved, some prayed, some just stood quietly, their faces full of fear. As the car disappeared down the dusty road, one woman whispered. If those children don't come now, they may never see her alive again. The hospital in town was small but neat. The nurses worked hard. Even with little equipment, Mummy Abina was placed on a hospital bed near a window. The sunlight touched her face gently. The doctor gave her a drip and some injections. He looked at her file and said quietly, she has been sick for a long time. Her body is tired. The nurse beside him asked, does she have anyone to take care of her? She has children, the doctor replied. But they are not here. A soft voice came from the bed. I'm here. Alone. The nurse held her hand gently. You are not alone, Ma. We are here. Meanwhile, back in the village, people continued to pray and wait. Every hour, someone would ask, have they called back? Have the children replied the messages? But still, nothing. Abina's phone was ringing, but he didn't answer. Precious' number showed unreachable. One of the young boys in the village tried calling through WhatsApp again and again. Finally, after many tries, Precious picked up. Hello. Yes, Precious. It's me, Kelechi, from U Village. Your mother is very sick. She is in the hospital now. We need your help. There was silence. Then Precious replied coldly, I'm sorry. Things are tight here. We're very busy. And coming to Nigeria now is not safe. Kelechi was shocked. But she may not survive, Precious. This is your mother. Precious didn't respond to that part. She simply said, tell her we are praying for her. Then the line cut off. Kelechi stared at his phone. He turned to the others and said, she said they're praying. The chief stood up. Prayer without action. Is that how we treat a mother who gave us everything? The villagers were angry, but Joy didn't want anyone to fight. At the hospital, she kept asking the same question with her weak voice. Have they called? The nurse would gently shake her head. No, Ma. But don't worry. Rest. Joy smiled faintly. They must be busy. They will come. They love me. But her heart knew the truth. Abina was in London. He had just bought a new phone and posted pictures on social media. Precious was in Canada. She recently attended a big party and shared smiling photos online. They had nice clothes, nice food, nice lives. But no time for the woman who gave them life. One of Precious' friends saw the post about Mummy Abina online. She sent a private message. Precious, I saw something about your mother. Is it true she's sick and you didn't go home? Precious replied. It's complicated. We warned her to leave that poor village long ago. No light, no road, nothing there. She refused. So now, let her live with her decision. The friend was quiet for a while. Then she asked, but isn't she still your mother? Precious read the message and ignored it. Back in Nigeria, the hospital bill was growing. Every drip, every injection, every lab test added more cost. The doctor called the chief and said, "We have done our best. But she may need to be transferred to a bigger hospital if she's to survive." The chief sighed. "We've tried everything. Her children don't want to help. What do we do now?" The doctor folded the file and looked at the chief. "Sometimes, sir, medicine alone cannot save someone. Sometimes, what the patient needs most is love." That was all Joy ever wanted. Not money, not gold, not houses, just love. The village women took turns sleeping at the hospital with her. They fed her small pap and water. They read psalms beside her bed. They cleaned her body with warm water and wrapped her in clean cloth. One night, as the lantern flickered beside her bed, Joy turned to one of the women, Ijeoma, and whispered, "I don't blame them. Maybe the world changed them. But please, if I don't make it, bury me here in this land. This is where I suffered. This is where I prayed. This is where I belong." Ijeoma held her hand, crying, "Mummy, don't say that. You will live. You will eat your children's food again." But deep down, they both knew the truth. Joy was fading. The woman who gave her life to others, the woman who gave everything to her children, was now lying quietly in a hospital bed, with no one by her side but strangers who had become her family. The hospital was quiet that night. Even the usual noise from the nearby roadside had reduced. It was as if the world itself was holding its breath. Inside the small ward, Mama Joy lay on her bed, her eyes half open, her lips dry. The drip beside her was almost finished, and the soft beep of the heart monitor echoed in the silence. A young nurse sat by her side, fanning her slowly. Outside the ward, Ijeoma and two other women from the village were sitting on the bench, holding a Bible and singing softly. "God will take care of you. Through every day, or all the way." Back in the room, Mama Joy blinked slowly. Her vision was weak, but her spirit was awake. She turned her head slowly toward the ceiling. Her voice was soft, almost like a whisper. But her words were clear. "God, my Father, are you still there?" The nurse turned to look at her. Mummy Abina continued, whispering to the heavens. "I am tired. My bones are tired. I did all I could. I loved my husband. I raised my children. I never stole. I didn't chase men. I worked with my hands. I tried." A tear rolled down her cheek. "But my children, they forgot me. They forgot the hands that wiped their tears, the mouth that begged to feed them." She paused, breathing slowly. "But God, I'm not angry. No, I forgive them. Wherever they are, bless them. If they are flying, let the wind carry them well. If they are walking, let the ground support their steps." She coughed lightly, and the nurse gave her a little water. Then she smiled faintly. "If this is my last night, God, please, take care of me. Let me sleep in peace." She closed her eyes. But then, she opened them again, one last time, and whispered, "Tell Abina and Precious that I love them. Always." The nurse wiped her tears. She quickly called Ijeoma. They gathered around her. One of them held her hand and said, "Mummy Abina, you're not going anywhere. You will live." But Mummy Abina only smiled gently. She looked peaceful, more peaceful than she had in years. They began to pray around her bed. "Lord, if this is the time you have chosen, receive her gently. Give her peace. And forgive her children." Suddenly, the heart monitor beside. Then, silence. The nurse checked her pulse. Nothing. She looked at the others and shook her head. Tears filled their eyes. They all held hands and began to sing softly. "It is well. It is well. With my soul." The woman who gave everything had finally rested. Mummy Abina, the strong mother of ease, the woman who carried the weight of motherhood with her bare hands, had gone to be with her maker. But she left behind something more powerful than gold. She left behind forgiveness. She left behind grace. She left behind a prayer. The news reaches the village. By morning, the news reached Ease. Drums stopped. Laughter stopped. Even the birds in the trees seemed to fly slower. Mummy Abina is gone. People gathered at her compound, crying, sharing stories. Some remembered how she used to give food even when she had little. Others recalled how she carried Abina on her back when he was sick as a baby. Many simply cried. The chief arrived and sat quietly. After some minutes, he said, "The world may forget her. Her children may forget her. But Ease will never forget Mummy Abina." The children still silent. Messages were sent again to Abina and Precious. "Your mother is gone. Her burial is being planned." Still. No reply. No call. No transfer. Nothing. The village women shook their heads. "Some children die while their mother lives," one woman said. "But these ones lived while their mother died in silence." That night, the chief called a meeting. He stood before the elders and said, "This story must not be forgotten. We must teach our sons and daughters to honor their parents. We must not allow foreign lands to erase the love of home." Everyone agreed. That same evening, in a country far away, Abina was at a bar with friends. He was drinking and laughing. He opened his phone and saw a message. "Burial of your mother was held today." He stared at the screen. Then he locked the phone and continued laughing. Somewhere else, Precious was taking pictures at a party. She posted them online. The caption said, "Grateful for life. So many reasons to smile today." Nobody knew. Nobody cared. But back in Ease village, one mother had been laid to rest. One grave had been filled. And one village was left with memories and heartbreak. So my brothers and sisters, this is where Mummy Abina's story ends. A woman who gave her heart, her strength, and her life, only to be forgotten by the same children she carried on her back. She didn't ask for gold. She didn't ask for diamonds. All she wanted was love. A little time. A little respect. But in the end, she died in silence. Buried with no honor from her own blood. Yet, Mummy Abina still prayed for them. Even on her deathbed she forgave. That's what a true mother is. Dear viewer, please hear this. If your mother is still alive, go and visit her. Call her. Hug her. Send her something small. It doesn't have to be much sometimes, just hearing your voice will give her strength. Don't wait until it's too late. Because when she's gone, you will wish you could turn back time. It's about all the mothers. All over the world. Who cry in silence. Who suffer and still smile. Who give, but never ask. Let's honor them. Let's not forget them. Because a mother's love is the closest thing to God's love. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Let someone else hear this lesson. Let someone remember their mother today. We will be back with more real, emotional stories like this. God bless you. And God bless every mother, living or gone. Thank you so much. Love you all. Bye.